Hi there, my name is Allison with Warhorse Liberation, and welcome to episode 2 of our free online gardening course. Today we are going to be talking about starting your seeds indoors. And if you are a part of our life, thank you so much for joining us. But also, a lot of this information is still the same. I'm just providing it in a little bit more concise and informal way for you guys. So, the first thing when it comes to starting your seeds indoors is to know your growing zone. So here in Rapid City, South Dakota, we are zone 5, and that means that our outside planting time frame is going to be in May. But I want my seeds to be about 12 weeks old before I start to acclimate them to being outdoors. So that's why I'm starting them now. But if you're in any of those lower states, your growing season may actually end up starting next month. So I do recommend that when you start your seeds indoors, to let them to get to be about 8 weeks old before transporting them outside. It just allows the root base to mature. And then when you start that process to go outside, there is a very beneficial way to do that. So no matter when you're doing it. So if you're in zone 5 with me and it's May, or if you're maybe down in Florida and your growing season starts next month, the one way that you want to make sure that you're doing that is rather than just immediately planting them into the ground, what you're going to do if you do that is it's going to go into extreme shock. Not just because now it's in a different space, having to get used to different soil, but now it's also having to get used to wind and rain and sun beating down on it. So when you get to the point where you want to plant your seeds, it should be about 1 week to acclimate them to the outdoors. On the first day, they'll be outside for about an hour. The second day, 2 hours. Third day, 3 hours, and so forth until on that 8th day, then they will be planted outside because they have been able to be introduced to all the different weather conditions and get ready to be outdoors. You'll find that you'll actually have more success with doing that rather than just putting them immediately into the ground, as they may go into shock and you might end up losing over half of your plants. And so now that we know when you're planting outdoors, when you should be starting those seeds indoors, and that process to once your seedlings are ready to go out, let's actually get down to the grass tacks here, y'all. So we're going to be talking about actually planting your seeds indoors to get them started. And the first thing you want to do is figure out where you're going to put those seeds. So they need to be in a nice sunny spot. So for me, I'm actually going to put mine by our sliding glass door. There'll be the section that doesn't open, so that way they get plenty of sunlight. But you also don't want them right up against that window, especially since it's still winter. It's that draft and that chill can actually shock the seeds themselves. So you want them to be about 6 inches to a foot away from that window, so that way they don't get that shock or chill from the window itself. If you don't have a window space, totally fine. You can still have seeds going. And one thing I did get, which I'm actually really super excited about, is a seed starter kit from TikTok. So it comes with grow lights in it and a lot of different space for seeds. So if it's just you and you don't need a whole lot, you might be good with just one of these. Because as a nonprofit, we have a garden space where we give free produce to those in need. We also give free plants to those in need. So I want a lot of different seeds going so that way I can make sure I have enough for our community as well. But grow lights is a great way to start your seeds as well. So if you don't have a really good designated spot or you don't have free space by a window, go and get some grow lights. It doesn't have to be this one that I have here from TikTok. I know that they have grow lights at Walmart as well as Amazon. So find one that has good reviews though. So you want that to be 4.5 or higher as far as its reviews, just so that way you're getting something that will actually work and not just kill your seeds. So now that we have that space designated, a nice sunny spot or with those grow lights, now we want to determine what seeds you want to actually have. So what plants do you want in your garden? So if you're in an apartment, you could still have a garden space. You're going to be a little bit more limited on how many different plants you can have, but think about the basics. What are the produce that you buy the most from the grocery store? Which produce are also the most expensive to buy from the grocery store? And those are the ones that you probably should be focusing on growing. But because I do have a designated outdoor space and I give free plants away as well, I have a lot of different seeds. Now, you don't have to spring for the organic. I did not, I'm gonna be honest with you, but I know that many do prefer to get the organic ones. These are all non-GMO seeds, but I did not get the organic. These were $150 at Walmart. The organic ones are $250, I believe. So just trying to be a little bit more cognizant on my spending. Later this year, we're also going to do a wrap-up course after our harvest, talking about how you can harvest your own seeds for the next planting season. So hopefully you will never have to buy seeds again. So, but figure out which produce you want. And then once you have that and you have your seed starter tray. So for me, I have this one from TikTok. It is a clear tray. It's all plastic. I also have this one from Walmart, which is a great one. I believe it's Abani is the brand. But when you pick it up, the bottoms are actually rubber. So it's very easy just to push the seedling out. Or let's say you can't afford any of that. That is not a problem. You can actually start your seeds in an egg carton. I'm not going to pick it up because I've already put my seeds into these ones. Okay, we're good here. But so egg carton is a great way to start seeds as well, because that entire little carton space can go in the ground. It does break up, it's biodegradable, and it is a great tool. I mean, eggs are so expensive, so why not reuse that carton? So once you have that seed starter space figured out, or the tray itself figured out. So if you're using cartons, not a problem. Just make sure that they are that cardboard biodegradable ones, that you don't want it in foam, because then that will put those microplastics into your dirt. You don't want that. Once you have that all figured out, you have your tray set up. We're getting ready now to put dirt in. But what we need to do before we actually just put the dirt right in is we need to soak our dirt. So I got a specialized, it is organic, it is natural seed starter soil. It has all of the different fertilizers and nutrients that seeds need, which is why I like to get this one specifically. I don't add soil to my soil outside. I've had a great way of composting it, but just put all your dirt into a bucket and then fill it with the water, not all the way with water, but you'll kind of water it, mix it, water it and mix it until it gets to a nice consistency that it's not like sopping wet and like dripping through your fingers, but has a good moisture. So seed starter soil is made with a coconut fiber, which is great. It does a great job of holding onto moisture, but when it's super dry, it does take a minute for it to actually absorb that water, and you don't want to put seeds into that dry soil. You want that soil to be wet first. So soak it here. Or if you decide to go and get those little disc pods, which is what I have here. So make sure you also soak these in water. I like to soak them for about 30 minutes to an hour, which they've been soaking for about 30 minutes now, which is the same pods I have over here. So I just needed to fill a couple more spaces, which is why I'm soaking them. But these are also great because it has that nice film that keeps the dirt together. You don't have to worry about it falling all over the place. These are great for egg curtains, so that way you don't have a mess everywhere. It keeps it all contained, a little bit more organized as well. And just know that with these, you'll probably need to transplant them when they're about 8 weeks old. So whether you're doing those, whether you're doing normal dirt, make sure you soak that soil for about 30 minutes to an hour and just really allow that moisture to be absorbed into the soil. And then you'll just spread the soil. So you'll see, like I did with this one here, I spread it all over. And when we go to plant, make sure you look at the depth requirement. So each plant does have a different requirement. For my pods over here, I've already put in my lettuce and my spinach. And I did that on my live. So if you were with me on my live, you saw that. So, but with lettuce and spinach, you need to be a 1/2 inch deep, which is why these little pods here are so great because they're not very big. So if you need to go 2 inches, deep into the soil, these may not be the way to go for you because, they're only about 2 inches tall. So the other ones that you need to keep an eye out is when it's about 1 inch. So if you know that some of the plants you're getting, like tomatoes, need a good depth, watermelon need a good depth, you're all ranging at about 1 inch. So like my cantaloupe, it is listed here on the back. It's cantaloupe was only 1/2 inch. Same with my cauliflower. So just keep that in mind. Your fingertip is roughly 1 inch. So when you are making those holes for your seeds, I use my fingertip and I gauge it to that first little wrinkle there. Um, and that for me is 1 inch. So if I need to go a 1/2 inch for the depth, then of course I'm just going half of the way with my fingertip. And that's a great way to just determine without having to measure and be super concise with it. And then just make sure you cover back up. One thing I like to do is after I put the seeds in, I like to add some more soil and kind of pat it down a little bit so that way I know for sure that they are covered very well. But that's the gist of it when we're starting our seeds. Once I'm done with these, they'll be going downstairs in front of my sliding glass door to get plenty of sun. Make sure to keep the soil moist, but you don't want it too wet. And that's why I love these trays that have that bottom, because it does allow that water to drip out so that it's not just standing in the wetness. Because if it does get too wet, you could rot out your seeds. But you also want to make sure that that soil never gets completely dry either, because you will kill your seed if you don't maintain a proper moisture in it. Well, that was our first course, you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, comment with any questions that you may have. Stay tuned for next month. We are going to be talking about having a garden space in a very condensed area. So if you're in an apartment or if you only have a really small outdoor space, we'll be talking how you can still have a very productive garden in that either indoors or that small space. So thank you for joining us for episode 2, and we'll see you later.